Hello everyone. In this lecture I am going to explain line by line the poem, A Complaint, written by William Wordsworth. But if you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe the channel. Before I start this poem line by line, let me tell you a brief description so you will understand it. Basically, this poem is about the painful changes in love over time. In the beginning, the poet felt that love was like a fountain near his heart, always flowing freely and bringing him joy. He did not worry about whether it would last, he simply enjoyed its warmth and happiness. However, as time passed, this love changed. The fountain that once sparkled and flowed has now become a hidden well, still deep, but quiet and unnoticed. You may have some understanding about it. Now let me start it line by line. There is a change and I am poor. The poem begins with a direct and powerful statement. Wordsworth tells us that something has changed, and as a result, he feels poor. Here the word change refers to a shift in love, something that once brought them happiness has now disappeared. Basically, the word poor does not necessarily mean financial poverty. Instead, it suggests emotional emptiness. He feels as if he has lost something precious, and without it, he is left feeling lonely and sad. And then says, "Your love hath been, nor long ago." In this line, the speaker addresses someone who is very dear to him. Actually, he says that this person's love was once present, but it was not long ago that it began to fade. The phrase, "nor long ago," tells us that the change in love is recent. This suggests that he is still processing the loss and struggling with their emotions. A fountain at my fond heart's door. Here, Wordsworth uses a beautiful metaphor to describe love. He compares it to a fountain. As you know that a fountain refers to a constantly flowing source of water. The phrase, "at my fond heart's door," suggests that love was always near them, always available and abundant. The word fond shows deep affection and warmth. This means that he cherished this love and saw it as a vital part of their life. In other words, you can say, by comparing love to a fountain at the heart's door, the poet expresses how love was once generous and easily accessible. It was not something that he had to search for, it was always present, always giving. Whose only business was to flow. In this line, the poet continues the metaphor of love as a fountain. He explains that the fountain's only purpose, its only duty, was to flow continuously. The phrase, "only business," means sole function or main purpose. This suggests that love, like the fountain, had no other task but to keep flowing freely and endlessly. It did not stop, slow down, or change, it was always giving, moving, and nourishing. And flow it did, not taking heed. Here, the poet emphasizes that love truly did flow, without interruption or hesitation. The phrase, "not taking heed," means not paying attention. This suggests that the love was given so freely that it did not even stop to consider how much it was giving or whether he needed it. Actually, this line highlights how natural and unselfish love once was. It was overflowing, without concern for whether it was being taken for granted or if it would last forever. Of its own bounty, or my need. The word bounty means great abundance or generosity. Here, Wordsworth is saying that love was so plentiful that it did not even recognize its own richness or how much it meant to him. At the same time, the love also did not stop to consider the speaker's need for it. This suggests that love was once so strong and plentiful he never had to worry about losing it. What happy moments did I count? This line expresses nostalgia for the past. Wordsworth remembers how many joyful moments he once had because of love. Actually, the phrase, "did I count," suggests that these moments were so many that they could be listed, almost like keeping a record of blessings. This line conveys a deep sense of longing for those times. It means that he had many countless moments of happiness. Blessed was I then, all bliss above. In this line, the poet expresses how overwhelmingly happy he once was when he had the love that is now lost. You should not be confused about the words like blessed or bliss. Basically, the word blessed is an old-fashioned way of saying blessed. The poet is saying that he felt truly lucky and joyful during that time. The phrase, all bliss above, means a happiness greater than anything else. The word bliss refers to pure joy and perfect happiness. By saying that he was above all bliss, he suggests that his happiness was beyond measure, it was greater than any joy imaginable. Now, for that consecrated fount. In this line, the poet looks back with sadness at the love he once had, which he now feels has changed or disappeared. The word consecrated means sacred, holy, or deeply special. It suggests that the poet once saw his love as something pure, divine, and deeply meaningful. He did not think of it as just an ordinary emotion, but rather as something almost spiritual, a source of blessing and fulfillment. The word fount is short for fountain, which represents a flowing, endless source of something. In earlier lines, the poet compared love to a fountain that constantly flowed from his heart. This means that his love was once abundant, overflowing, and freely given. Here, the speaker describes how love used to be. It was murmuring, meaning it made a soft, pleasant sound, like the gentle flow of water. It was sparkling, meaning it was full of life, energy, and excitement. The phrase, living love, suggests that love was once alive, active, and full of warmth. It was something that constantly moved and nourished his heart. What have I? Shall I dare to tell? In this line, Wordsworth shifts from past happiness to present sadness. He asks himself a heartbreaking question: what do I have now? In other words, you can say that the poet is asking himself a painful question: what is left of the love that once brought him so much happiness? He hesitates before answering, as if he is afraid to admit the painful truth. The phrase, "what have I?" shows a deep sense of loss and emptiness. The poet once had a love that was like a flowing fountain, constant and fulfilling. But now, he questions whether anything of that love remains. The way he asks this question suggests that he already knows the answer but struggles to face it. And they says, a comfortless and hidden well. In this line, the poet describes what remains of the love that once brought him immense joy. Instead of a flowing fountain, his love has now turned into a well. As you know, a well refers to a deep and enclosed body of water. Actually, the word comfortless means that this well brings no joy, warmth, or satisfaction. Unlike the fountain, which was constantly flowing and full of life, the well now sits in silence, offering nothing that can comfort or nourish him emotionally. This suggests that the love that once made him happy has now become a source of loneliness and emptiness. A well of love, it may be deep. In this line, the poet continues to compare his love to a well, but now he acknowledges that it may be deep. The phrase, "a well of love," suggests that his love has not completely disappeared. Unlike a fountain, which is open and always flowing. It means that it does not move itself freely, but it still holds water, just as his heart still holds love, even if it is no longer active or shared. The words, "it may be deep," suggest uncertainty. The poet is unsure about the true depth of his love. He might be wondering if there is still a strong and lasting love buried within him, even though it no longer flows like it once did. This uncertainty could mean that he has not fully explored his emotions or that he does not know whether his love will ever be revived. And then says, "I trust it is, and never dry." In this line he hopes that this love has not completely dried up. He believes that love still exists deep within him, even if it is no longer active. The phrase, "never dry," means that love has not disappeared completely, but it is no longer giving the same joy and fulfillment it once did. What matter if the waters sleep? In this line, the poet is asking a question whether it truly matters if the waters of love in his heart have become still and inactive. Actually, the poet seems to be reflecting on his emotions with a sense of resignation or even bitterness. He wonders whether it is important that the love he once had, the love that once flowed like a fountain, has now become quiet and motionless, like a well whose water is no longer being drawn or used. Basically, the phrase, "if the waters sleep," is a metaphor. Here, waters represent love, and sleep means stillness or inactivity. When water sleeps, it means it is not moving or flowing anymore. In the same way, the poet's love is no longer active or visible. It is hidden beneath the surface, silent and forgotten. In silence and obscurity. In this line, the poet describes the state of his love as something that now exists in silence and obscurity. The word silence means complete quietness, without any sound or expression. This suggests that his love, which once flowed like a lively and sparkling fountain, has now become mute and lifeless, no longer expressed or shared. The word obscurity means darkness, hiddenness, or being unnoticed. It suggests that his love is not only silent but also buried or forgotten. It is no longer seen, recognized, or valued as it once was. Such change, and at the very door. In this line, the poet expresses his deep sorrow over how drastically love has changed for him. The phrase, "such change," refers to the painful transformation that has taken place in his emotions and relationship. Earlier, love was like a flowing fountain, full of life and joy. Now, it has become like a hidden, comfortless well, stagnant and unnoticed. This shift from abundance to emptiness is the change he is talking about. The phrase, "at the very door," is especially significant. Here, door refers to the entrance of his heart, symbolizing his most intimate emotions and feelings. The poet is saying that this painful transformation has happened right at the threshold of his heart, affecting him deeply and personally. "Of my fond heart, hath made me poor." In this final line, Wordsworth expresses the deep loss and emptiness he feels because of the change in love. The phrase, "my fond heart," shows how deeply affectionate and devoted his heart once was. The word fond means loving, tender, and full of warmth. This tells us that the poet's heart was once rich in love and emotion, overflowing with feelings of deep attachment. However, the phrase, "hath made me poor," reveals the heartbreaking contrast. Actually, he is not talking about material wealth, he is saying that his heart, which was once full of love, now feels completely empty. The richness of love he once experienced has disappeared, leaving him emotionally poor. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture, but please don't forget like and subscription to my channel. Thank you.